Right, my name is John Warburton, and I'm going to take you through now a series of real projects. These are not demonstration files that you're going to be looking at, to illustrate various features of MicroGDS entry level. These are features that we think set MicroGDS apart from other CAD systems. So I'm going to start by opening the first of these projects, which is it's a barn conversion for a farmhouse and barn in North Yorkshire, actually. And there are two projects here on the same site. So we have the barn down at the bottom and the farmhouse at the top. And this is just to illustrate how you don't need to produce separate sets of drawings for presentation purposes. This is a simple line drawing here, a basic GA drawing of the floor plan and site plan. But we use the same drawing, and just by changing a few settings and adding a few line styles, we have a presentation drawing based on that same file. Just to demonstrate that it is the same file, if I arrange the two drawings side by side, if I then go and make an alteration on one of these drawings, you'll see that the same alteration is made immediately on the other drawing. So it's exactly the same data that's been presented, just in a different fashion. And this is a very simple thing to do in MicroGDS, and it's one of the most powerful features of the tool. What it does mean is that you're not working on duplicate data sets and having to update duplicate data sets when there are changes to the project. One of the other features you've got with MicroGDS is the ability to set up multiple views of the same data. For example, we've got here a situation where the buildings are aligned on a site plan in their sort of real physical orientation, and that can be awkward to work with. So all we need to do is to, first of all, align our axes to the plan that we're interested in. If I just switch the focus to that window, I can then adjust the view. It won't let me. Set axes, move. To align the plan with the view there. And this is something that we can save. We can save as many of these views as we need. So I can set up my view to show us everything that we're interested in. And I can then do view, save the axes, so that the axes are restored to the orientation that we're looking at here. And then I can do save the view as and just give it a name, and I'm just going to call it farmhouse. So that's now added to our project. And we can open it without having to go through this setup procedure every time. You'll notice on the left-hand side here we have this thing called a document organizer. And it looks to be showing you a file tree and a whole structure of a directory system on that you'd expect to see on a hard drive. But in fact, we're looking at the file contents of a single file here. And MicroGDS allows you to organize the data in this very flexible and very powerful way, so that even the most complicated of projects in these single user files, you can group the data sensibly so that you're not fishing through hundreds of individual drawing views to find the particular one that you're interested in working on. I'm going to close that file down, and I'm just going to choose to save the changes that we've just made, and I'll open the next one. And this is another project in North Yorkshire, and this time this is created in a multi-user project. The previous one was a single-user file, and this is a multi-user project. It presents itself visibly in a very similar way to single-user files, and the way that you work is very similar, but the difference is with multi-user projects that any number of people can work on the project at the same time. So, for example, I can now go and open, let's say, one of our plot windows. If I go to my plot windows folder here, and I can open, let's open the this one here, the plans and elevations for the proposal. And you can see that we've got all of the different drawing views of the project set up here on a single plot sheet. This is the equivalent to the paper space layout that you will find in AutoCAD. In MicroGDS, this is set up quite simply just by defining the paper size that you want to plot to, and then you can import as many of the views from the project as you want at whatever scale you need into the paper space here. And if we want to work on the one, we just double-click, and that opens that particular drawing for us. And we can start to see another of the powerful features of MicroGDS here, which is the ability to create very complex line styles, and as many of these in the project as you want. There are literally no limits on the number of styles that you can choose to create. So if we zoom into this corner here, we can see that we've got different styles of roof tile here. Step back through the view and look at a different portion, and again, different styles again. Now this has been set up in monochrome. This particular architect wants to produce all of the drawings in monochrome, but it's very easy to work in colour as well. So for example, if you actually want your foliage here to be drawn in green, we can either force it to be drawn by selecting a colour, or there are other techniques, but simply for this demonstration we can pick the colour that we want. And likewise with the roof areas here, which are
now joining
hand tiles, we can set those up to be a nice terracotta colour, something quite light there. And once we've set one colour, that colour is automatically in the list for the next use. So you can start to build up full colour presentations again from the same set of data. And again, as with the previous project, you can save these different views, so we can have one view that's in monochrome and one view that's in colour. Okay, I'm going to close that project down now. We don't have to close the projects down. We can choose to have as many projects open at the same time as we want. MicroGDS will not run out of power before it becomes too difficult for you to work with the number of drawings you've got open. So you can have literally hundreds of these things open if you wanted to, but you couldn't really see 100 windows on the screen at the same time. I'm going to have a look at another project now, and this one is possibly the smallest job that I've ever actually worked on. It's just a dining room extension to a cottage on the coast, and I'm going to open another plot window to start with, which is the drawing number 10 I think I'm looking for, which is a simple plan, and as you can see it's just a one-room extension to the property. I'm going to double-click to open the what would be model space window in AutoCAD, but which in MicroGDS, it doesn't use terminology to distinguish between the different window types, because you are actually working in the same environment all the time. It's just the views of the data can be set up to show just the print extent if you want. If we zoom right into this drawing, we can see the amount of detail that you can quite comfortably accommodate within the drawing. You can choose to turn off levels of detail if you want to set up layers with different categories of information on, and there are other ways to filter out the detailed information. But MicroGDS is very, very efficient at the way it handles complex data. So you wouldn't need to set up a different drawing to do your details on and another drawing to do your GA on. You can use the same drawing for everything, and then just turn on and off the bits and pieces of information that you want to see on the sheet at the particular plot that you're producing. You notice we're working on a white background as well in MicroGDS, and we'll have a look at setting background colors when we look at DWG files. The reason for that is that MicroGDS is a what you see is what you get system. So what you see on screen is what plots. So it's useful to see the colors when you're plotting in color on a white background, so you get a good representation of how they're going to appear on the final printed layout. I'm just going to demonstrate briefly the use of multiple windows open at the same time, so you can see how we can just open, let's say, half a dozen of these things. I can then arrange those, tile them, and we can choose to work in any one of these windows that we want, and we can move data between them, we can copy data between them, and we can actually edit from one to another as well. So for example, if we wanted to, let's say, draw a line from the corner of this opening here and display it on our ceiling plan, you can do so. It allows you to edit across these windows very, very easily. I'm just going to cancel that command, and we'll close this project down as well and move on to our next one, which is it was a mill